Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. You know the drill. We're back at it again with the Entitled People Reddit stories. Just a quick forewarning, I know that some people are only here for the funny stories, and these two that I'm about to read are not it. They're both kind of heavy, with no resolution, but I do like to read these ones from time to time because I know a lot of you out there can relate to being raised by narcissists, and find these types of stories cathartic. So let's jump into it. Entitled Dad threw away all of my childhood possessions. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. My parents always made it clear that when you turn 18, you're out of the house. Whether you're off to university, moving, or just homeless, they don't care, but you're out. They did this to all of my siblings, and what would you know? None of them want a relationship. I was 16 when the last one left, so it was just me and them. Since 5 children from the ages of 54 to 18 didn't want any relationship, they tried a little harder with me. By that I mean, I was allowed to eat 3 meals a day if I wanted, but I had to do the meal planning, shopping, and cooking. My dad ate oatmeal in the morning and granola at night. My mother ate 1 meal a day at 8 p.m. and only made food for herself. I was able to get new shoes once a year instead of waiting till my toes and heels were showing. Just little things like that. But I guess old habits die hard, because when I turned 18 and went off to uni, they couldn't get my stuff out of there fast enough. They basically tried to push me to take every single possession and shove it into a dorm room. Not just clothes or books, but my actual futon bed. Yep, didn't get a real bed until uni. My photos, anything and everything. Of course that wasn't going to work, and I told them so. They said, okay, box it all up. So I did, and I put it in their storage unit. Within 1 month, they had taken down the walls of my bedroom to make their living room a massive space. So on holidays, I could choose to sleep on the one couch where my dad would wake me up at 4:30 when he woke up, or I could beg a friend for a place to crash. I spent most of my free time at friends because of this. I just felt like they hated me being there. Finally, I graduated and my parents split up. I helped move them out, and my boxes were moved to my dad's McMansion. When my grandparents passed, he basically stole all their money. None of the grandkids got a dime or a single memento, which I know my grandparents would not have been okay with. And he got 4 to 5 million. So he bought a flashy car and a giant house. At this point, I had 8 small boxes of stuff. It took up no space at all in his place. We're talking tiny boxes. But one day he texts me and asks me if I want anything from my boxes. I've recently moved to the other side of the country, and he had years to broach this. But he waited until I was 1,000 kilometers away, after I just helped him move, to ask if I could get rid of my boxes. I asked to just pop them open, and we'll FaceTime, and spend 20 minutes talking about it. He says, "Oh, you don't want any of this stuff. It's over a decade old," and that he had put it on the curb for the garbage men already. A list of what he tossed is as follows. All my baby photos from ages 0 to 13, all my personal items, books, photos, gifts, letters from Granny, Christmas presents from Gramps, all gone. All my clothes from when I was 15 to 18. I wanted to keep a few sentimental items that I had already written down. Edit. Since I've gotten so many comments about this, I asked if I could keep them in his house. He said yes. If he had said no, I would have rented a storage unit. He only asked me to get rid of them after I left. He could have told me before, but he waited until I left and then tossed them, and then after he tossed them, he asked me if I wanted them. Edit number 2, why didn't you just take the boxes with you? Because I live in a tiny space in the most expensive city in my country, so I didn't have a lot of space. And he has a house so large that you could play a full game of tennis in the living room. He also said I could keep them there when I moved. so I trusted him. Edit number 3. Why did they have 6 kids if they obviously hated their kids? My mother, according to my father, liked how people treated her when they saw she was a mother. She didn't consider my first 2 siblings as real children because she was the stepmom. So she told my dad she wanted kids, but he had gotten snipped after the first 2. So they adopted 2 kids. The second they arrived, she realized she didn't feel that they were her real children. So he got his vasectomy reversed, and they had my brother and I. But she actually hated being a mother, and basically ignored us all, except for being a cruel monster to the adopted and stepchildren. My older brother was the golden child, as he was her only real son. He's a monster in his own right. Psychiatrists should observe him as a case study of sociopathy, and even he got kicked out at 18. I was just the lucky one, and was treated like a ghost in the house. When I was 16, my dad was finally starting to realize that he was a bastard when the other 5 cut them off, and told him why they cut them off. But he never wanted kids. He just did it because she said she did, which is almost worse in my opinion. Like, if you have the kids, then commit to it. Ugh. OP, do yourself a favor and follow in your siblings' footsteps. Go no contact with these narcissists ASAP. They do not care about you. They couldn't even have the decency to give you a proper bed. These people had children for vanity reasons, which is disgusting. And the mother literally sounds like the evil stepmother from Cinderella. I'm honestly nauseous after reading all that. What is wrong with some people's brains that they can look at a child that they're responsible for and be disgusted and see them as a burden? It's sick. So please, OP, for your own safety, go no contact with these monsters. They are not human. My sperm donor asked why I didn't check on him when my premature baby was in the hospital. My father, who I refer to as my sperm donor, and I haven't had the greatest relationship. He wasn't around my whole life until I was 18. The times that he was around, he was drunk. There are honestly several instances where I should have just cut him off. He came to my college graduation absolutely plastered, made a scene, then sped off in a car. Things like that. Anyway, now that he's older and has health issues, he'd convinced me that he wanted to try to be a better dad. That of course didn't last long. At 32 weeks pregnant, I went into the hospital because my water broke. They checked for an infection and didn't find one. The consensus was that it was just spontaneous. I was given 2 medications, one for the baby's lungs and one to intervene with labor. I felt like complete ass. Magnesium in that amount can make the body feel really heavy. I wasn't allowed to get up on my own. They put a catheter in to go pee, etc. One evening while at the hospital, my dad called me, but my fiance answered my phone because I was exhausted, stressed, and just didn't feel like talking. He had called earlier in the day and was demanding answers that we didn't have. We didn't know if I was gonna have the baby or not. I'm not sure the exact conversation anymore, but I can definitely still feel the tone. Hello? Where is my daughter? I tried calling and asking, but she isn't answering. Yes, she is in bed. They have her on medication. Well, why hasn't anyone told me what's going on? We don't have answers. We don't know when the baby's coming. As soon as we know something, we will tell you. Fiance was getting visibly agitated, but trying to keep his cool. Okay, motherfucker, we'll see. Just to make myself clear, I never told my father he was allowed at the hospital or that I wanted him there while I was giving birth. The next day, he texts me upset that my nurse wouldn't give him info over the phone because of HIPAA. He was saying that he was going to just show up at the hospital. I said no, and that she's most likely premature, so we couldn't have visitors anyway. His response was, "Sad face, I really wanted to come see her." I'm probably not telling this well because I was so stressed out, but he was constantly pushing to see her and come to the hospital. He didn't respect any boundaries I set. No visitors. Like, fuck, don't you get the hint? She's premature and hooked up to machines. After him talking to me back and forth and him just not getting the hint and throwing a fit, I had to tell my nurses to get security involved and ban him from coming to the hospital. When I got home, while my child was in the hospital still, I had several text messages from him. I decided to try to resolve the issue and politely explain why I was upset. He made excuses. I told him I was disappointed that he didn't respect my boundaries. He once again made it all about himself. No one checked on my mental health while you were in the hospital. I lost my shit. I'm sorry I didn't think to check on you while I was in labor and while my baby was in the NICU. That wasn't even the end. My grandmother has posted pics of my baby on Facebook without my permission, and they were public. I had to get her to take them down. Apparently she sent pics to my dad as well, including one I had sent in confidence. It was of me breastfeeding the baby. You couldn't see much, but baby didn't have a shirt on, and you could see my breast if you knew what you were looking at. Well, this asshole put my naked breastfeeding baby's pics as his cover photo for all the world to see. I went off. I told him to take it down or I'd report him for child porn. I told my brother about all of this to make sure I wasn't overreacting, and he made a great point. Why would I make you going into premature labor about me? He's since been banned from seeing my daughter. It's better not to have a flake, drunk of a grandfather who's just gonna break her heart. I need to set an example that I won't let others walk all over me. Yes, and please stick with it. Don't let him back into your lives. I know it's disappointing, and this stands for anyone that has a wishy-washy parent. No matter how much you want your children to have a magical relationship with their grandparents, the truth is that by forcing a relationship like this, you will only be opening your child up to being abused by toxic people. People like this father don't change. Your child's protection should come before anything. So, OP, protect your daughter from this man. An empathetic grandparent/father that actually cares would not behave this way. The sheer audacity of making a situation that is so dangerous and stressful for a mother and baby to be about himself is horrific. So take this as a learning experience and let him go for good. Heck, set some serious boundaries with grandma too. But anyway, that is all from me today. I hope you got some value out of these two entitled people stories. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!